If it's Monday night, oh, yes, it is ridiculously raw. And for the first time ever, ridiculously raw along with the Ranger Roundup. Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw. I am your host once again, the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Florio here with you, and don't adjust your sets. Not only are we going to be doing Ridiculously Raw tonight, but we are also going to do the Ranger Roundup. And I got to say, this is an honor for me. I mean, this is the first time that I'm going to be presiding over a Ranger Roundup. Probably the only time, but unless things happen. But this is awesome. So we're going to do the Ranger Roundup first because that went down first. We're going to recap Game 2, the New York Rangers against the Ottawa Senators. Myself, Michael Fletcher, and our special guest Michael Bullock. We're gonna get his thoughts on that as well, and then we're gonna recap Ridiculously Raw with a main event for the ages. My goodness, what a main event that was! And oh, are we gonna have some fun with that and some other things? So, like I said, I am the Ridiculously Over Gentleman Anthony Florio. I am joined by a man coming off of his birthday last night, back with us. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. We're hopeful that he had a blessed birthday. I'm sure he'll give us a little detail about that when we get to him. And of course, the phenom Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our infamous Raw chats. It's been a while since we've done one of those, but it was great to do it tonight. And boy, howdy, we had a lot of fun with it. So, alrighty. So with all that being said, let's dive on in. First up, it's the Ranger Roundup, and oh man, where do I start with this? Game 2, the Ottawa Senators and the New York Rangers. It went down this past Saturday. Of course, MF had plans, of course, for his birthday and some other things. So that's why we're doing the roundup here tonight. And the only thing I can say about it is, even though the outcome did not go in our favor, this was, to me, the game of the Stanley Cup playoffs so far. This was a 5-star classic, chock full of some of the finest Shakespearean drama you will see. And that's why the Stanley Cup playoffs are better than the NBA playoffs, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So, first period, Rangers get on the board at 4:16. Michael Grabner with a shorthanded goal, assisted by Jesper Fast, makes it 1-0 New York. And then the Ottawa Senators tie it up. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, you're going to be hearing that name quite a lot during this. Unassisted goal at 13:59, ties the game, 1-1 after 1. Second period, Chris Kreider makes it 2-1. Assists from Mika Zibanejad and Ryan McDonough at 10:39, 2-1 New York. And then Rangers strike again. Derek Stepan, another shorthanded goal. Assist from Rick Nash at 13:10, 3-1 New York. And then the Senators come back. Mark Mathot, his first, assisted by Hoffman and Harper at 14 minutes, made it 3-2. And then Brady Shea from Ryan McDonough and Mika Zibanejad, 4-2 New York. That was at 15:51 of the second. 4-2 New York after 2. And then Ottawa at 1:28 of the third gets on the board again. Mark Stone from Dion Phaneuf and Clayson makes it 4-3. Brady Shea from Brendan Smith, 5:10. 5-3 New York. You're thinking, okay, this is where it's got to be over, right? No. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, his second of the game from Smith and Phaneuf at 16:41, cuts it to 5-4. And then 2 minutes and 17 seconds later, guess who? Yup. Jean-Gabriel Pageau. A hat trick. Kyle Torres, Eric Carlson on the assist at 18:58, 5-5. No score in the first overtime, and then 2:54 into the second overtime. Jean-Gabriel Pageau again. Burrows with the assist. Ottawa Senators win Game 2, 6-5 in double overtime. Ottawa Senators now up 2-0. My Lord. Shots were 48-34 in favor of the New York Rangers. Face-off percentage, that was Ottawa, 58-42. Power plays, both teams were 0 for 4. Rangers out-hit the Senators 43-38. Block shots in favor of the Rangers, 24-19. And the giveaways, Ottawa had 28 giveaways to the Rangers 15. I don't know if MF has the 3 stars of the game. I'm sure he'll have them for us in a matter of moments. But it's a no-brainer who the number 1 star is. It's Jean-Gabriel Pageau. He was far and away the best player on the ice for either team. In addition to the 4 goals, he also had 2 hits and a block shot. That's a solid day at the office, young man. Have yourself a day, kid. That's all I can say on that. Other stars of the game, Mark Mathot had a goal, 5 hits, 3 block shots. Dion Phaneuf, couple of assists, 5 blocks and 2 hits. Carlson with an assist, had a couple hits and a couple of blocks and a takeaway. Craig Anderson, 43 saves on 48 shots. I mean, Stone had a great game as well, had a goal. He also had a couple hits, had a couple of block shots. And Smith, 3 blocks and 2 hits, had an assist in the game as well. Stallberg had 3 hits, and Wingles had 3 hits. Hoffman with an assist and a couple of hits, and that's pretty much the players I'm going to show love for the Ottawa Senators. But to me, Jean-Gabriel Pageau was the star of the game, hands down. Over on the other side, Brady Shea with 2 goals, had a couple of hits and a couple of blocks. But he was not, I don't think he was the best player on the ice for the New York Rangers in Game 2. The best player on the ice for the New York Rangers in Game 2, it was the captain, Ryan McDonough. Are you ready for this, guys? 11 hits. I'm not kidding you. He had 11 hits, 5 block shots, had a takeaway, and he had 2 assists. McDonough was a stud. Brady Shea, I gave him the love as well. Nicky Holden had 4 hits and 3 blocks. Danny Girardi had 5 blocks. He played well. Grabner had a phenomenal game as well, had a goal. He had 3 hits and 3 block shots. Kreider with a goal and 4 hits. Let me see who else do I need to show love for. Kevin Hayes, a couple hits and a couple takeaways. Lindbergh with 3 hits. And Zuccarello, a couple hits and a block shot. Nash had an assist, played well. But the face-off draws, Stone was 100% on face-offs for Ottawa. Brassard, 64. Smith, 60. Pageau, 48. Turris, 61. Zibanejad, 59% for the Rangers, 67% for Lindbergh, 32 for Stepan, 35 for Hayes, and 17 for Miller. And that's the love I got to show. But I got to say, this is the most demoralizing New York Ranger defeat since Game 5 in 2014 when the Los Angeles Kings wrapped up the Stanley Cup. That's how demoralizing this was. I mean, the Rangers had this thing in the bag. How do you blow 3 2-goal leads? I don't understand that. 3-1, 4-2, 5-3. Should have been over. I'll tell you what happened. They got complacent. That's what happened. They got complacent. You have a 2-goal lead. You keep on fighting. You don't just lollygag. No. You keep putting that pressure on. 2-goal leads are never safe. And we just learned that the hard way. Blowing 3 of them. And they lose. And now it's a 2-0 hole. And tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden, this is literally a must-win game. Because if they don't win this game, this thing's over. We're done. You think we're going to come back from 0-3? I know it's been done, but not against this team. I know MF wanted this matchup. I mean, MF, I admire your confidence and your boldness, and I know you had a feeling about this matchup, but I did not want this matchup. And now you're seeing why I didn't want to see the Ottawa Senators in this round. I wanted Boston in this round because they were injury prone. They had injuries on their side. And I thought the New York Rangers would have taken advantage of those injuries. But no, It was Ottawa who beat Boston, and now Ottawa's had their way with us so far. But the thing is, the New York Rangers have hung with them in both games. It easily could have been the other way around. It could have been 2-0 us, but it's not. And now the Rangers are in big time catch up mode. Because this is game 3 tomorrow night in the Garden. They better win this game, because if they don't, if they go down 0-3, it's over. I don't care what anybody says, it's over. I don't see this team coming back from 0-3, because this Ottawa team is for real. They're scary. They remind me of the Tampa Bay Lightning from 2 years ago. They're playing the same bully hockey that the Lightning played. And look what happened. We got burned at the stake. So I'm just going to say it right here and now before I give it to MF. New York Rangers are coming to play in game 3. We are coming to play. And I think this is where they'll finally get on the board, and then we can have a series now. I'm not giving up. I still have the faith. Like our battle cry from 2 years ago, MF. Keep the faith, my friends. That's all I can say on that. We can, and we will. Believe that. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, birthday boy, coming off of your birthday celebration last night. Let's bring you on in, MF. Come on in. I know you feel as demoralized as I did the other day watching this, but before you give your thoughts, please enlighten us if you have them. Who were our 3 stars of this game?
All right. Well, I can confirm the 3 stars went to Brady Shea, 2 goals, no assists. The number 2 star was Dion Phaneuf. I like to call him Dion Fagoof, but he is Phaneuf, with 2 assists in the game. And like you said, Anthony, Juan Gabriel Pajot, number 1 star, 4 goals in the game. It's a record, at least in this round. I don't think Noah has ever scored that many goals in an NHL postseason game, or at least in the second round. I mean, we've seen hat tricks happen in postseason, but I think this is a rarity to see a 4-goal game in that one. And I'm going to say it like this. It is a heartbreaking loss. It is demoralizing what happened with New York because, like you said, 2-goal leads, and you're thinking we had it in the bag. A feeling that maybe this was going to be that game when New York jumped out early, had that good lead. You're thinking, oh my God, we're actually, we could get this. And that's the thing. Game 1, fluky goal, and it blew up. In the second game, I'm just going to be real honest with you. The reason why New York lost was the defense. I'm gonna call out the defenseman on this. The defenseman really junked the bed on this, and they let Ottawa creep around long enough, and they won. Because if it wasn't for that fluky goal in game 1 and the defense really sleeping behind the wheel, like Anthony said, this could be 2-0. But it is what it is. You just gotta play tough, play better. You gotta show us, that might, that heart, and they're gonna just have to do something about it. And that's all that we can really say about it. New York is gonna have to turn it all around. Go back to whatever brought them. You gotta go back to what brings you to the dance. And what brought us to the dance was, the great play of Lundqvist. And a lot of these guys are gonna have to step it up. A lot of the guys. I mean, you can't fault any of these guys that's been going on lately. Like Rick Nash has been playing great. There's been some great players. It's just we need to really focus. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We just have to focus. And at the end of the day, yes, it was a heartbreaking loss. Yes, it's a devastating loss. Yes, we're going to have to way around this, and we have to. So, look, 0-2 down. Look what the Celtics just did to the Chicago Bulls in the NBA. Even the Pittsburgh Penguins, they had a 2-0 lead. They just lost tonight. They just lost because in overtime, thanks to Shattenkirk. He got the game-winning goal. So New York, it can be done. We just have to refocus ourselves, get recommitted, come home to that home cooking in Madison Square Garden. That crowd's going to be lit tomorrow night. Stay focused, stay on the message, stay on the point, and not only that, but help out Henrik Lundqvist. He's been standing on his head all playoff long. God damn it, guys. Show me you want this. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, why don't you come on in and give us your 2 cents?
Yeah, I mean, the New York Rangers, I mean, they just didn't look like a team in the first 2 games, and this one here was just a bitter pill to swallow. Man, I mean, to blow two goal leads. I mean, that's
Three 2
oh
goals.
three. Yeah, I mean that's gonna go down as probably one of the most bitter losses in Rangers history. I mean, for that to happen and to lose in double overtime, that's gotta be a tough pill to swallow, if I'm gonna be quite honest here. So, and yeah, like I said, I think the Rangers will definitely be coming to play, and remember when I went on my rant when the Celtics lost the first 2 games? Look what happened. They won their next 4 over Chicago, and they're in the next round. So maybe something like that could happen with the New York Rangers. They just need to play better in these next few games. They need guys like Girardi, Kreider, McDonough, Nash, and Stepan to basically step up and raise their game to another level. So, and Lundqvist needs to play really good and prevent Ottawa from scoring. So, yeah, so this is definitely a must-win game for the Rangers, or it's not going to look good for them. So that's pretty much all I can say on it. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in Game 3. So with that being said, Flora, let's get on to what it's all about, and that's Monday Night Raw.
Yes, and before we do that, MF was wondering who holds the record for the most goals in a playoff game. 5 different men have each scored 5 goals in a playoff game. The last to do it, got to go all the way back to April 25th of 1989 when the legendary Mario Lemieux scored 5 goals in a playoff game. I'm pretty sure that was when the Penguins were against the New York Rangers in that playoff year. Talking about Jean-Gabriel Pageau and his 4. And one other stat, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, the first player in 11 years since 2006, Joffrey Lupul of the Anaheim Ducks. He scored 4 goals, including the overtime winner. So, hats off, big ups to Jean-Gabriel Pageau, even though he made us sick, but, it is what it is. So, Game 3 tomorrow night. Of course, we're going to do it again. We're going to combine the Ranger Roundup and the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. Only this time, MF's going to be back at the helm. So hopefully we'll be in a better mood come tomorrow night. Monday Night Raw, ridiculously raw. Live tonight from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, exclusively on the USA Network. The fallout from Payback, a very good Payback last night. I wish MF could have joined us. I would have loved to have gotten his thoughts on it. But we started it off with an in-ring segment. It was the coronation of the new Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss. All the other Raw women were in the ring. Mickie James, Dana Brooke, Emma, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, and former champion Bayley. They were all in there. Bliss, cut their heel promo, and then she went after Mickie James, and then she went after Sasha Banks, kissed up to Nia Jax, and then really tore into Bayley. And I know Michael Bullock's going to have a lot to say about that because he had a lot to say about it during our Raw chat tonight. And then it led into our first match of the night because then there was a major brouhaha, and we had ourselves a cat fight a la Joey Styles. Of course, MF does that better than any of us. 8-woman tag team match. Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Emma, and Alicia Fox against Bayley, Sasha Banks, Mickie James, and Dana Brooke. The winners of the match in roughly 14 minutes, well, between 13 minutes and 5 seconds to 14 minutes, it was the heel team. Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Emma, and Alicia Fox, after Alexa Bliss got the best of Bayley again with another DDT after a rig in the eyes. So 2-for-1 deal. I'll start it off. Alexa Bliss continues to shine on the microphone, and she's coming off what may have been the best match of her young career. Bayley played her part well by not hiding her disappointment and finally snapping once she had enough. The crowd fired up when Bliss and Jax first made eye contact. It would be an odd match with Jax as the babyface and Bliss as the heel due to the size difference, but I could see them going there if they sense there's interest. And as far as the match is concerned, I'll be honest with you. Based on my scoring tonight, second best fight of the night. Solid 3 stars. Crowd-pleasing action in the women's match. Bliss getting the better of Bayley again is the right move. And Bayley is at her best when she's a sympathetic underdog. And the last 24 hours have put her in that position. So, yeah. And some other thoughts. It was a good match. Everyone worked hard. And more importantly, everybody getting some screen time. The Raw Women's Division feels fresh with Charlotte's departure, even though I was sad to see her go. And it's nice to see more women get TV time. Bliss steals another win, raking the eyes and solidifying the DDT as a viable finish for her. And during that segment, she came off as a condescending biatch, and it was just as I hoped. And she showed you why. She is my future ex-wife. So the first 30 minutes of the show go to the women. Well done. And they delivered in both aspects. Not just the coronation segment, but the bout as well. So 3 stars for the bout, second best fight of the night, and one of the segments of the night. So MF, the first 30 minutes of the Raw of this Raw tonight went to the women, and rightfully so, and they delivered.
Well, the thing is that when you have a shocking, well, it wasn't as shocking as we thought it was going to be, but whenever you have a moment where a new champion is crowned, and one that has made history in so many ways. I mean, think about this. Alexa Bliss, the first female ever to have hold both the Raw Women's title and the SmackDown Women's title in the same year. She's now a 3-time champion overall. And to me, I'm going to call this right now. She's my female superstar of the year. She's my female wrestler of the year right now. I think the only other person that would probably take umbrage over that is Asuka from NXT. Those right now, it's neck and neck. But I would give Alexa Bliss the edge right now and call her my female wrestler of the year. Because what she has done, the 5 Feet of Fury, has been unbelievable. If her star didn't rise then, it has risen even higher now that she's the Raw Women's Champion. And from her to get literally plucked out of SmackDown, thrown into Raw, and for her to do what she has done in that little amount of time and to win the title now, that makes her without a doubt one of the biggest players in the division right now. Like, they've strapped the jetpack on her back, and she's skyrocketing. Even though there's been some behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people thought was going to taint her momentum because of some, I'll call it, basically some stupid idiot mutton heads found some private photos of her. Now, I'm not just, I won't go into too much details, but there's been some photos that's been leaked out on the internet of Alexa Bliss, and they're not, it's almost like Paige all over again. Let's say that. But there's no video, it's all photos. Now, there's just rumors circulating that it's been leaked out. She's acknowledged that, yes, photos have been leaked, somebody hacked them, and somebody basically is trying to derail her. And that's unfair. Because a lot of this stuff were private stuff, intimate moments, things that should never have seen the light of day, but they have. And for me, I sympathize with Alexa Bliss, and I'm glad that she came out and ripped and went to shreds, because that's she has a right to do that. Now, wrestling, and what she's brought to the table now, everybody talked about the women's revolution, the Diva Revolution, which was Sasha, Bayley, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. That was the start of the revolution. But the next crop of women that's coming in, that's making names for themselves, I think it's Emma, Dana Brooke. Of course, I'm going to say Alexa Bliss because she's the ringleader of it, and Carmella. This is the next crop, the future. And then you got Billie Kay right now in NXT. We got her partner in crime, and Anthony, you know who I'm talking about. Because you get Billie Kay, you know there's her partner in crime. Come on, help me.
Peyton Royce, baby.
Peyton Royce.
Hey.
You got them. You got Ruby Riott or Rex or Heidi Lovelace. She is there. Kimberly is in NXT right now. So you already see the next generation of women wrestling coming up. And in a few years, they're going to go. And I didn't even say Amber Moon's name. I didn't say Asuka's name. Because we already know they're at the top of the NXT list. They're on top of the NXT mountain. What, a heartbeat away from coming to WWE? Like, Asuka should have been up on the main roster by now. I don't even know why she hasn't even come up. So, the women's division is in a very good place right now. And as far as the fight goes, yeah, 3 stars. I'm going to give you that. So, I love what I'm seeing. Who knows what the future may be, but the women's division cannot be in a better place or in a better position than it's ever before than right now. Just enjoy it, man. Like the newest member of the SmackDown roster, the new United States Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho, would say, drink it in,
Drink
man.
it in, man.
Drink it in, man, or else you're going on the list.
Yep. So, enjoy it, gentlemen. This is a fun ride. Does not matter if it's on Raw or SmackDown Live. The women's division has been really good. Red hot. The hay with the days of the Home Diva fights because
Oh,
they are gone, boys.
hallelujah.
And you know what? They sometimes it does rear its ugly head. I'm not gonna say it's completely gone and buried because there's been some times where we've seen a dud fight here and there. But how many dud fights have we seen recently? Not that many.
No,
Because they've actually emphasized that the women's division deserves an opportunity, deserves a chance. And on top of that, there's a women's tournament coming right around the corner.
yep.
And I know Anthony and myself will probably get into that as well because there's some international flavor with that too. There's some big names in that upcoming 32 women tournament.
Indeed,
And
there
they've
is.
already said the winner of that becomes the number one contender and can challenge for any of the three belts: the NXT title, the SmackDown title, or the Raw title. The winner of that tournament gets the challenge for one of three belts.
Wow. High stakes.
Michael Bullock, it is all yours, my friend.
All right. I mean, yeah, the segment I thought was good. I mean, Alexa Bliss basically, I mean, antagonizing a lot of people. I mean, first off, I mean, it was Mickey James, and then she basically went over to Sasha Banks, and like you just said, she basically kissed up to Nia Jax, but when she turned to Bailey, she basically went there when she said, well, near at the end, mentioning Bailey's family and her nephews, how disappointed they were, and that now that her Bailey's family and nephews have a real role model they can look up to. So as soon as she said that, I'm like, yep, she went there, and and I'll say this right now, I think she's probably the best women's heel wrestler uh, out there out there right now. I mean, wouldn't you guys agree on that?
100%.
I mean, we've seen women wrestlers. I mean, be like a big time heel, but I've never seen one like Alexa Bliss.
Oh,
That
yeah. I mean, boy, I mean, I told you this during our Raw chat earlier. She's, go figure, a few years ago, she starts off as like, something out of like a Disney fairy tale princess type character. And with the Bliss kiss, which I loved, that's what made me fall in love with her in the first place, the Bliss kisses. And then from there, in about a couple of years, she goes from being that fairy tale princess to, oof, she goes from being my future wife to my future ex-wife in one found swoop.
and will insult you and have no regrets about it.
No, and look what she said to Bailey. She went there. Normally SmackDown Live has the "we went there" angles, but Raw had a "we went
Well,
there."
Raw had the cojones to actually do it.
Yeah, talking about Bailey's family and her nephews, basically, and that's what set Bailey off.
And Bailey
Yeah.
was like, "Enough is enough," and that's when we had that brawl. And originally, it was supposed to be just a tag team match with Sasha Banks and Bailey against Nia Jax and the new Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss, but that got changed to an 8-man. Of course, now you had Dana Brooke and Mickey James on Bailey's team, and you had Emma and Alicia Fox on Alexa Bliss's team. So, and as far as my rating on the match goes, I'm gonna give it 2.5 to 3 stars. And yeah, I mean, this was a really good match to kick off the matches portion of Monday Night Raw, and basically, yeah, I mean, women's wrestling. I mean, it really has gotten good. I mean, since it went from being the divas to women's wrestling again, and ever since then, we've gotten some good to great matches, and I get a feeling it's only going to get better and better as the days, weeks, months and even years go by, especially with that talent there at NXT and with that upcoming women's tournament. So the segment was good, and the match 2.5 to 3 stars. So Florio, I say we just move on.
Yeah, and that moment when Bailey snapped on Alexa Bliss, it reminded me a lot of a personal favorite moment between me and MF, that Roddy Piper Bad News Brown moment when it was basically that's it. And then Bailey exploding on Alexa Bliss, and oh man, they can't hold it back. Oh man, he's gone berserk. We all remember that moment, MF. So that's all I can say on that. So now we move on to our next match, one-on-one match: Enzo Amore against Luke Gallows. Luke Gallows wins the match with the Gallows pole, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm going to leave it to you guys. Do you want to get into this match, or do you want to consider this a cutout? It's up to you guys.
I would probably say cutout.
Cutout? How about you, Bullet?
What was the match?
Enzo and Gallows.
I mean, I'll get it. I'll get into it. I'll say about 1.5 to 2 stars is my rating. I mean, the match was fine for what it was. I mean, it wasn't anything really all that special, but I mean, going into this, I mean, I actually thought it was going to be a no rating to a dud, but it turned out a little bit better than what I expected. So 1.5 to 2 stars is my rating. So Florio, it's yours.
More like 1.5, Bullock. I mean, because Gallows beat on Enzo forever, did a bunch of arm work just to do arm work for over 4 minutes, and it went nowhere. And he needed help to win. It was not good. It was one of the.
Yeah, I was going to lean more towards 1.5.
Yeah, a meth fight, to be honest with you. All right. Now we're gonna have a really fun segment here. Seth Rollins comes out. And we talked about beating Samoa Joe last night, and talking about beating Triple H at WrestleMania and the whole 9 yards. He says, "Well, there's only one thing left for me to do. I want the Beast. I want Brock Lesnar, and I want the Universal Championship. Hey, I've been to Suplex City. I ain't afraid to go back." But then he gets interrupted by the Demon King, Finn Balor. They renew old acquaintances from last year's SummerSlam, and then the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose comes out. But wait, there's more. Miz and Maurice come out. And then Dean Ambrose, calls Kurt Angle on the phone and says, "Hey, these guys are all out here." And it's like, you know what? We're going to have ourselves a triple threat match. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and The Miz, winner to face Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in the main event of Monday Night Raw later tonight. MF, we started with you here. What a crazy segment. What did you make of all that?
Great segment. First off, I love the fact that Seth Rollins is calling out for Brock Lesnar, trying to get an opportunity for the Universal Championship. That's one good thing. But then Finn Balor, the original and first ever Universal Champion, never really got an opportunity, to defend the title or anything else on circumstances that was beyond his control. Remember, he got hurt the night of SummerSlam and never really played anything more than that. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think Finn Balor deserves the opportunity. He deserves the shot. So there's nothing more to say. And then to see The Miz and Dean Ambrose, I mean, this was a really good segment. I enjoyed it for everything that it was worth. So for me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed what I saw. A lot of fun. Yeah, definitely one of the top segments of the night. Probably the non-wrestling segment of the night. So with that said, Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good segment as well. I mean, starting off with Seth Rollins basically saying how he finally, when he beat Samoa Joe at Payback, and saying what else is there for him to do, and that he said he wanted the Beast. He wanted Brock Lesnar's Universal title. So Yeah, and then Finn Balor comes out and he wants him to, and then obviously Dean Ambrose comes out, and then the Miz and Maurice come out. And they start throwing some verbal jabs. Then Dean Ambrose calls Kurt Angle and says, "You know what? We're gonna have a triple threat #1 contender match, and the winner will face me for the Intercontinental Championship." So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, I enjoyed the segment, so Florio, it's yours.
Oh, absolutely, segment of the night, hands down. I mean, even though there were some good segments on this show, I mean, oof. I mean, the only gripe I have is if the Ambrose character is such a fighting champion, then why didn't he defend the title at Payback or just ask to face all 3 men in a 4-way? Anyway, the segment was amazing. It was very good, filled with some fresh matchups, minus Ambrose and Miz. I mean, some people were waiting to see Samoa Joe go after Rollins, but don't worry, we'll get to that later. And WWE is doing, and that's all I can say on that. So, put on the brakes there a little bit. Very good segment, giving some much needed direction and importance to the Intercontinental Championship. Balor again showed some good personality, while Ambrose's comedy with the call to Angle played well. So, very good segment indeed. Everybody played their parts really well. So, now we're going to move on to the first of our 2 cruiserweight matches of the night. Yes, we had 2 cruiserweight matches. This was a 6-man tag team match. The Premier Athlete Tony Nese, the Brian Kendrick, and the Scottish Supernova Noam Dar going up against the Outlandish Rich Swann, Akira Tozawa, and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. The babyface team, Rich Swann, Akira Tozawa, and Jack Gallagher. Gallagher with the corner drop kick on the Brian Kendrick scores the win for his team. So, Michael Bullock, we're going to start it off with you. Your boy, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, picks up the win, and we had a lot of fun with this match, mainly because we got to see quite a few, tope suicidas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and don't forget Tope con Hilo.
Tope con Hilo.
Don't forget about that. Yeah, as far as the match goes, I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a good match for what it was, and I'll give it 2.5 to 2.5 to 3 stars. Mainly I'm leaning more towards 2.5, but man, I mean, this is why this cruiserweight division continues to get better and better, and to see a nice one here. I mean, especially with the Premier Athlete Tony Nese and Noam Dar and the Brian Kendrick, and when you got that team of Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa and Gentleman Jack Gallagher, boy, they certainly put on a good match here. So 2.5 to 3 stars, even though I'm leaning more towards 2.5. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
2 3/4 to 3 stars is my rating on this Bullock. Yeah, we definitely had some fun with this match when we did our Raw chat. Very good match overall. I just wish, especially in these trios matches, that they'd embrace a more frantic Dragon Gate style for at least portions of the bout to really allow these guys to shine. But no, this was. I think this was the better of the two, a smidgen better than the other cruiserweight match, even though it was a very good match too. And that's really all I can say on that. I mean, all 6 guys worked hard. I mean, we got some tope suicidas. We had some tope con hilos, much to Bullock's delights. So, yeah, they definitely made the most. They made the most of the time they were given. So, very good 6-man tag. And yeah, I mean, ever since Neville and Adrian Neville and Austin Aries came into the picture, the cruiserweight division has gotten so much better after a very, very slow and bad start. It has gotten so much better. The matches have gotten better. And if only we can make 205 Live a little more on the entertaining side, give them a little more time to work, then we have something. So it's almost at the Cruiserweight Classic level, even though I still think the Classic was head and shoulders above the rest. So that's all I can say there. So 2 3/4 to 3 stars is my rating. So MF, the 6-man cruiserweight tag team matchup. Your thoughts on it?
Really nothing to say. You guys pretty much nailed it. 2.5 to 3 stars. Solid fight. Good match. They still got some work to do. I'll agree with that, but they're out in the forefront. They're looking really good. So, yeah. Uh, Nothing more to say. So let's just move on, guys.
And now we're going to move on to another fun segment here. The newly heel turn, Cesaro and Sheamus. Of course, if you didn't see Payback last night, Cesaro and Sheamus turned heel after they lost to the Hardys in that Raw Tag Team Championship match, which was one of our top 3 fights of the night for sure. And they cut a heel promo. Both men cut heel promos, and then the Hardys showed up, and I think we saw the first sign of the broken gimmick because Matt and Jeff did the delete sign, and Michael Bullock and I, we had a lot of fun with it, and I mean, I really don't know what else there is to say, but I'll say it like this: the Hardys, they got over on this one, so you know what we have to do, right? And MF, you're seeing this for the first time. This is brand new. Michael Bullock and I debuted this last night during our Payback recap, and we're gonna show it to you for the first time, MF, and we're gonna have some fun with this. The Hardys got over. Bullock, brother Bullock, you know what that means. Sauteed
green beans for
everyone.
everyone. Yes.
And MF, the Hardys got over, so I think you have a little number in order for us.
Yeah. First off, let me do something. Let me screenshot this because apparently something happened last night. There was some kind of injury, or I don't know. I heard some kind of
All the
injury went down
tooth.
last night. Well, a compliment of my boy Broken Matt Hardy. We will be on Raw tonight, looking for at Sheamus and Cesaro, at the brother Nero just returned from a dental appointment from the delightful Isaac Yankum. Yes. And when it's all said and done, brother Angelo will say that they will fade away and classify themselves as obsolete.
Come on, Bullock. Obsolete.
Obsolete. Yeah.
But don't forget the green beans.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
That's all I
I don't. I think you should just leave the obsolete part to him, and leave the green beans part to you and me, Florio.
Absolutely. So yeah. I believe I start on this, correct? So
Yeah, you do.
yeah. Solid follow-up to last night's angle, and I am more than cool with this feud continuing and Cesaro and Sheamus healing it up. And of course, sooner or later, it's coming. It is coming. The broken brilliance of your broken heart is, yes. And it will be wonderful and delightful. Yes. So that's all I can say on that. Another one of the segments of the night. Wouldn't you agree, Brother Angelo? Yes.
Fletch.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I muted my mic briefly. Look, I'm just gonna say this: Cesaro and Sheamus doing the heel turn was beautiful. I mean, it caught me by surprise. I didn't see it coming, but if there was one thing that they needed to do, was they needed to get something over. And well, I guess you know what? It I'll do another screenshot, and this one we all can do because I think this was the feeling from you guys, especially after what happened last night. I think this will pretty much say the whole thing. This sportsmanship malarkey is over. That's
Delete,
right.
delete,
It's
delete,
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 delete, delete,
delete,
delete.
delete, delete.
Woo.
Yep. So you already know this has just gotten personal. This just got bowling shoe ugly. And on top of that, I'll say it like this: these two obsolete mules, that is Cesaro and Sheamus, just started a war that I don't think these guys are gonna come back from. So I know we're not going to get no Vanguard 1 or Senior Benjamin right away. Well, not yet, at least. But one thing is for sure, it is about to get really interesting. Um, and I can't wait to see what the Hardys does next because um, they got the broken Hardy gimmick. They have it. It's in their possession now. They paid off Anthem. They gave him one big lump sum. I don't know how much it's gonna be worth, but it's probably a good chunk of change. And now you're starting to see it. The Hardys are going to start to shift, and let me tell you, the broken brilliance of Matt Hardy. Uh, he had this Harvard. He had this conqueration, procuration of gold to prove that they were the greatest tag team in all of space and all of time. And now they're ruling Monday Night Raw. But I think the throne is getting really hot now. Sheamus and Cesaro, man, you didn't know what to expect. And the thing was, it was really, we knew Sheamus was a true heel. Cesaro was he was more of the good guy. I like the good cop, bad cop. But now they've turned it all around, and now look at where they're at. Um, Different side, more vicious, the attitude different. Well, we'll see. Nothing more to say. This is going to be very interesting. So, yes, green beans aside, I'm definitely with the Hardys. So, nothing more to say. Bullock, it's yours.
And I can also say this, and Florio already knows this, and Fletch, you're knowing this for the first time. I am no longer a member of the Cesaro section. So, yeah, so just wanted to let you know about that. So, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the segment, and definitely think this heel turn is definitely going to do wonders for these two. And this war with the Hardys is far from over, and well, who knows when they're gonna face each other again. So yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So Florio, let's just move on.
I think it'll be at the Rules of Extreme, Brother Bullock, on June the 4th. I think that's when we're going to get that delightful excursion.
And that's when we'll get the full completion of the Broken Hardys.
Yes.
Isn't that right, brother Florio?
Oh, exactly right, Brother Bullock. No doubt about it. And it will be
And it will
wonderful.
be delightful.
Wonderful. And we're going to make sure we have plenty of sauteed green beans for everyone.
Yes.
Yes. All right. On to what's a ridiculously raw without a cutout anyway? And well, we got one right here. Heath Slater against Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews wins the match in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Rhino and Titus O'Neil were out there as well. 1.5 stars. Nothing to see here. Just another short match to get Crews some momentum. And the Crews O'Neil pairing does have some potential because it gives Crews a mouthpiece and it keeps O'Neil out of the ring. So that's really all I can say on that. So, all right, back to the serious stuff now. General Manager Kurt Angle comes out. He was going to address the situation with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman after what we saw at Payback Sunday night. And just as he was about to do it, he was interrupted by the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. Whoa. MF, you got to have some serious thoughts on this. Another one of your former crown jewels on SmackDown Live.
What? Wait, huh? Yes, I know Bray Wyatt is, but he is part of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I said one of your former crown jewels on SmackDown Live.
Yeah, well, I mean, understandable, no doubt, but the thing is, he's going after one of the wrong dudes, man. I mean, wrong dudes? He's going after Finn Balor. Now, I can say whatever I want to say, but you better be ready and you better be aware of what could happen. You want to mess with Balor, you're doing it on your own risk because you know a coup de grace is not that far away. Watch out for the swing blade as well. But this is gonna be interesting. This could be fun. But all right. Bullock, I guess I'll give it to you.
Yeah, yeah, you talk about an eerie segment here. I mean, well, first off, Kurt Angle basically talks about what happened with Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in that main event of Payback last night, and just as he was about to get into what the future holds for both of them, that's when Bray Wyatt came out and just really was it was just eerie. It left me with goosebumps all over me. So man, and this isn't the last you'll see of Bray Wyatt. You'll find out later on. So there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, it's yours.
An unexpected and interesting segment that ended just when it was starting to get good. I guess the Wyatt video flash at the end was their way of saying to be continued. And as far as what's going on with Roman and Strowman, the Roman injury sounded like typical storyline injury fodder. The line about Strowman suffering a torn rotator cuff is not something they typically use for storyline injuries. Hopefully, it's not legit. That would be a major blow to Monday Night Raw if that's the case, because we all know Braun Strowman's been the best thing going on that show lately. And it was another one of those Wyatt promos where what he says sounds really good, but he doesn't really say anything else. Is he gunning for Lesnar? Is it somebody else, even though we think it's Finn Balor? So he didn't really say. So that's really all I can say on that. So we're just going to move on. Second cruiserweight match of the evening, Austin Aries against, he's now known as just plain old TJP. He's not TJ Perkins. He's TJP now. But Austin Aries wins the match in 11 and a half minutes via the last chancery submission. I believe Bullock starts it off. So, Michael Bullock, how do we feel about this second cruiserweight match, which featured another round of tope suicidas?
Well, this cruiserweight match here, I mean, it wasn't as good as the 6-man one, but I mean, it still was good for what it was. I'll give it 2 stars. 2.25 for the effort. Now TJ Perkins goes basically Austin Aries it locks in his submission maneuver and then gets the win, and then basically TJP puts a beat down on Austin Aries after. So yeah, it looks like the heel turn's now complete, and like I said, I think this heel turn's going to do wonders for TJP. So nothing else to say. 2.25. Florio, what's yours?
With all due respect, Bullock, I think you underscored it a little bit. I'm going to give this another 2.75 stars. A pretty good match, but they have had better. The attack of TJP was overall well done, following Neville's orders in hopes of getting a title shot. And Neville also gets someone else to do his dirty work. And it was good work from the wrestlers. Very little reaction from the crowd, though they did come to life with some boos for Perkins after the post-match attack. So solid match, but I would say by a smidge, the 6-man was better, even though I rated them both the same. But I think the 6-man was the better of the two cruiserweight matches, even though I love Austin Aries. Bullock knows how much I love Austin Aries. I call him my boy when we do our Raw chats, and MF knows better than anybody how much I love Aries, mainly because of his work in TNA, especially the whole Option C thing. You know that story. So we each have our favorite in the cruiserweight division. Bullock is a Jack Gallagher guy. I'm an Austin Aries guy, whereas MF, not just Adrian Neville, but also I know how much he loves TJP as well. So MF, as I give it to you here, Aries, TJP, your thoughts on this second cruiserweight match? I know how high you are on TJP. You've always been.
Yeah, very high on him, very much so. I love that he's now turned into a heel. Like I said, his gimmick, his character, it exudes a heel. To start him out with that kind of arrogant, kind of cocky attitude with the dabbing and the whole 9 yards, a la Cam Newton. I think that it definitely will work. Give it some time. I think he will be a real big player in it. I think it was good for what it was worth. I liked it. Nothing more to say. So yeah, I'm with Anthony on his rating though. I think Bullock, you kind of underscored it a little bit. So I could give this between 2.75 to 3 stars. So nothing more to say. Let's just move on, Florio.
And tomorrow night on 205 Live, TJ Perkins will be in action against Lince Dorado. Mustafa Ali will take on Drew Gulak, and Noam Dar against Rich Swann. So, oh boy, that should be some interesting matchups on the 205 Live tomorrow night. And now the main event of the evening, the triple threat match, the number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins versus The Miz versus Finn Balor. When all was said and done, the winner of the match, I'm trying to get the time of the fall. One review says 21 minutes and 50 seconds. Another says 22 minutes and 55 seconds. Nonetheless, the winner of the match, no matter what the time of the fall is, and the number one contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, The Miz. The Miz wins it. A lot of craziness involved. Samoa Joe gets involved. He took out Seth Rollins. Bray Wyatt comes in. He takes out Finn Balor. Miz, ultimate opportunist, crawls into the cover and gets the 1, 2, 3. So The Miz is now the number one contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And I believe it is. Do I start this off? Because I think MF wrapped up the cruiserweights. So yeah, I believe it's me.
It does go to you. It does go to you. You're off.
I get to start the main event. Awesome. Main event for the ages, folks. This was unbelievable. I was this close. Bullock and I were this close to giving this thing 5 stars, but the interference of both Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt will hurt the rating here. We want to give it 5 stars. We really do. But the best we can do, 4.25 to 4.5. This was the fight of the night. And I'm just going to say it. This is the Raw match of the year right here for 2017. Once they got past the trappings of the triple threat, all 3 guys kicked it into another gear and delivered an absolutely great match. And the triple threat rules also allowed for the finishing stretch and Joe and Wyatt's involvement. So coming out of this, we got 3 rounds of storyline progression on Monday Night Raw. It's not often we say storyline progression on Raw. That's more of a SmackDown Live thing. But look what happened here. Look what we got out of this, guys. Joe versus Rollins, Miz versus Ambrose, Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, and Wyatt versus Balor. That's quality multitasking right there, folks. Hands down. Very good match that had the live crowd rocking. The interference sets things on the expected course with those 3 matches I just mentioned, but it was a fun road to those matches and closed the show on a very hot note. If not for the interference of Joe and Bray Wyatt, this would have been 5 stars, hands down, because this match had so many unbelievable near falls, tope suicidas all over the place. Some of the finest Shakespearean drama I've seen out of a WWE match in a long time. And this match, there was definitely some high quality Shakespearean drama in Sacramento tonight. So well done, all three of you guys, and even Joe and Wyatt, even with the interference. The quality of the match was 5 stars, but because of the interference, we're going to bump it down to between 4.25 to 4.5. But nonetheless, this ranks up there as one of the great, since this brand extension thing started last summer, I would say this ranks up there. This probably is the second best overall Raw match. The other being that Universal 4-Way last year when Kevin Owens won the Universal Championship. So that's all I can say on that. So 4.25, 4.5 stars, fight of the night. MF, whoa. That's all I can say. Whoa.
Yeah, it was a whoa. It was a great match. Unbelievable main event, but I can only go 4 stars. I mean, I was really disappointed to see Joe get involved, then Wyatt get involved. It just left a bitter taste in the mouth. Even though it was a great match, I just hated the overbook that much. So this if it wasn't because of that overbooks and whatnot, yeah, easily 5 stars. Fight of the year right now for the Monday Night Raw side, no doubt about it. I'm not going to argue that. I just did not like the ending, and I'm sorry. I understand why they would give the Miz, but we've seen Miz and Ambrose too many times. I want to see something different, please. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. Bullock, it's yours.
I'm gonna have to go 4.25. If I'm gonna be quite honest. I mean, I was gonna say 4.5, but you just also brought a good point. Dean Ambrose and The Miz. I mean, we've seen this feud before. I mean, and also heard was that interference from Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt. If it weren't for all those things, yeah, it's definitely 5 stars. I mean, I understand about the storyline progression. I get it, but WWE, why did you have to overbook a really good main event? I mean, and plus, we've seen Dean Ambrose and The Miz fight before, especially on SmackDown Live for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, why do we have to see this again? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. 4 stars is my rating. Florio, let's just move on.
All right, now it's time for our overall thoughts on this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. So, MF, you started off. This first Raw after Payback, all the fallout. Did it deliver in your eyes, or what?
It was solid. It was very good. I really thought that last week they really kicked it, punted the ball on this one. This time they decided to take the chance, receive it, and run with it. And they did a very good job with it. I think after a very surprising good last night on the Payback pay-per-view or special, whatever you want to call it, and it really delivered. I think better than a lot of people expected it. I think you guys could say that was easily an 8.5 out of 10, maybe even higher. Between 8 and 8.5. Tonight, I thought they did very good. I thought they kept it within range. So I'm going to give it a modest 7 to 7.5. I thought this was a very good show. Nothing bad to say. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
I'll give it between 7.5 to 8 out of 10 as my rating. I mean, I still think Payback was just a smidget better, but I thought Monday Night Raw did a really good job with their show tonight. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So and plus they limited the cutouts, so there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, what's yours?
I'm with MF on this one. 7 to 7.5 out of 10 for me as well. The show had quality bookends this week. I loved the women getting the first 30 minutes of Raw. It felt like a good follow-up to Bliss's big moment at Payback. Both the promo and match were good, and the show was off to a good start. They also continued the Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro feud, set up matches for 205 Live, and also gave the Cruiserweights some nice time tonight. The main event was a hell of a match that locked in 3 feuds and also added some importance to the Intercontinental Championship as they built the show around that match. All in all, I felt this was a good show this week that flew by compared to most weeks. I recommend everything on the show. The only exceptions, you don't really need to worry about Enzo and Luke Gallows, and you certainly don't have to worry about Heath Slater and Apollo Crews. Get rid of both of those matches and watch the rest of the show, because this is a show you certainly don't want to miss. If anybody DVR it if you have to. So that's all I can say on that. So very good show. Okay, now we're gonna get into my Tony's take here, and then we'll wrap it up here. We got the 205 Live. We got the Impact Wrestling. 205 Live is what we're going to start it off with. You already know what we're going to get on the next edition of 205 Live. I already ran down those matches, so no need for me to rehash on that. So, okay. 205 Live for this past week. Here we are. And this was a very good show. I'm going to be real honest with you. First up, we had a tag team match. We had Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa against Noam Dar and the Brian Kendrick. Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa win the match. Akira Tozawa with a Shining Wizard on Noam Dar. 6 minutes and 25 seconds. 3-star match. Well done. An overall good little sprint with great energy to kick off the show. I like that they used the tag format to continue the feuds instead of burning another singles match. Second match, Mustafa Ali squaring off against the premier athlete Tony Nese. Tony Nese wins the match via a disqualification. It was interference by Drew Gulak there. And 7.5 minutes, 2.5 stars, rock solid match that played into the Ali Gulak angle well. Ali feels like a major babyface for 205 Live if they ever decide to let him cut loose and get behind him. And then the main event of the evening, non-title match, Cruiserweight champion Adrian Neville, gentleman Jack Gallagher. Neville wins the match in 10.5 minutes via the Rings of Saturn submission hold. Fight of the night, 3.25 stars. Very good main event. These guys have so much good chemistry, and they play off the clash of styles very well. Neville just comes off as so locked into his character from his vicious work, his mannerisms, and the complete disdain he shows the crowd and his opponents. So score 1 for MF. MF's guy, Adrian Neville, beats Bullock's guy, Jack Gallagher. It is what it is. So, all right. Overall thoughts on this show, 7 out of 10. Good show from 205 Live this past week. It had some good energy in the ring, continued some of the undercard angles, and after a good main event, gave us a short but effective go-home segment for Aries and Neville. So, yeah, very good show to say the very least. One of the better shows I've seen in a while. And, of course, we know I already mentioned what we're going to get on the next show, which will be going down tomorrow night, immediately following SmackDown Live. Just bear with me for a minute here. Okay. All right. So 3 matches set for the next edition of 205 Live. It will be Noam Dar. Noam Dar is going to be going up against Rich Swann. And there were 2 other matches. I forgot what they were, but I already ran them down anyway. But Noam Dar and Rich Swann appears to be the main event of the show. But it's going to be a great show, 205 Live. I mean, cruiserweights have been getting so much better. And, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, just incredible. And, okay, it's Noam Dar, Rich Swann, Mustafa Ali, Drew Gulak, and Lince Dorado against TJP. So those are your matches for the show tomorrow night. So really looking forward to seeing how that all goes down. All right, Impact Wrestling now. I don't believe my review of this will be as praiseworthy as the other one, but or will it be? We'll find out. So I do have very high praise for the main event of this show. So let's get into it. All right, now Michael Bullock, I told you this earlier during our Raw chat. You know, we talked about Josh Matthews. You know how Josh Matthews is this Michael Cole ripoff in TNA. Oh Lordy, did he take it to a whole new level? Jeremy Borash and the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro were, you know, basically setting the scenarios for the show, and then Josh Matthews comes out with these suits, and you know he read he had an office stooge read a memo, and it was announced that Jeremy Borash was suspended and removed from the announce team for sucker punching Josh Matthews at the end of the previous week's show. Matthews was great here as a condescending a-hole, but the problem is that we're still focused on this feud, and it's the first thing people saw this week as far as the main angle goes. There were so many better ways to kick things off, and if you didn't know any better, you'd think this was the biggest feud in the company. It would be fine as a minor feud, but it's taking over the programming. I mean, this whole Matthews Borash thing is straight up Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole, 2011 all over again. So, okay, now, big surprise in TNA. We had Trevor Lee in action, but who was Trevor Lee's opponent? Michael Fletcher, you're going to love this. Remember Evan Airborne? Matt Sydal? He's in TNA now. Your boy.
Oh, nice.
Your boy Evan Bourne.
I remember Matt Sydal from Wrestling Society X.
Oh, yes.
That was the first time I ever got to see Matt Sydal. And, you know, he's been through the independent circuit, did a little stint in Ring of Honor, and he was known as Matt Sydal. But what really made his claim to fame was when he went to the WWE, and he had a lot of success. The only thing that kind of derailed his career was the injuries. But I'm so glad that he's back in TNA, and yes, man, I cannot wait to see him take flight.
Well, guess what? He took flight. He went one-on-one with Trevor Lee in the next division match. And guess what? Matt Sydal won the match. 2.5 stars. It was 4 minutes and 45 seconds, rather. And how did he do it? He did it the only way he knew how. The Airborne. That's all I can say. So, 2.5 stars. Coming off of last week's X Division reboot, you had the chance to debut a relatively hot free agent in Matt Sydal, and you actually do it in a one-on-one match, which I have been dying for. But instead of focusing on Sydal's debut in the new direction of the division, Matthews spent most of his time on his angle, making fun of WWE for getting yelled at for calling Sydal's shooting star press beautiful and generally doing nothing to put the match over as any sort of big deal. The match itself was solid. They worked hard, but just didn't have the time to produce anything memorable. Also, while Sydal should have won his debut, it shouldn't have been over Trevor Lee when you have Caleb Connolly, Suicide, and Marche Rocket on the roster. But Matt Sydal in the X Division. Oh boy, that's hella fun right there. So, and then the newly heel turned Ethan Carter III comes out, cuts a promo, interrupted by the Cowboy James Storm, and very good segment with EC3 getting back to where he needed to be and coming off as rejuvenated in his newly heel role. Hopefully, the booking will follow through because EC3 needs to be a heel, and they need to get him back. They need him to get back his groove and start delivering as a top guy in all aspects of the game. So, solid segment there. Okay, MF, I got another question for you. Are you familiar with this young lady by the name of Christina Von Eerie? I'm sure you've heard of her work, I'm sure, right? She's the Global Force Wrestling Women's Champion, Christina Von Eerie.
Christina Von Eerie, I'll even give you a little insight. She actually wrestled a lot in AAA. She actually had a really good feud with Sexy Star for a little while in AAA. So this was before Lucha Underground. This was years before Lucha Underground. So this was like, I want to say about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But she's been doing a lot of independent circuits. She's actually done some Beyond Wrestling shows in her day as well. And yeah, she's I heard her name, and plus she has a pretty unique wrestling style, to say the very least. Definitely, well, I'll say this. Even though now you are the man of good fate, if you still were like the Anthony the Hitman Florio days, like way back when, this could have been your kind of girl, Anthony.
Oh, of course. I mean,
You know,
I saw her. I saw her on this last show. She went up against Ava Story. Ava Story, another young lady from the independent scene, Brandy Lauren, this beautiful young 20-year-old girl. And it was Christina Von Eerie against Ava Story. I guess the Global Force women's title was on the line in this match. Christina Von Eerie successfully defends it in about 3 minutes. I'm sorry, this was the worst fight of the night. No rating to a dud. This was not good. Ava Story looked so unsure of herself much of the time. And Von Eerie looked as if she was wrestling in a pool of molasses. I'm glad to see some new women in the mix, but I wish the ones they decided to go with were better than what we ended up with. So this was not good at all. Absolute dud. So, but here's something really fun here. Impact Grand Championship on the line. Moose, accompanied to the ring by D'Angelo Williams and Gary Barnage out of the NFL. Wow. And of course, Davey Richards with his wife, Angelina Love. Winners of the match. Well, actually, a rarity in a grand championship match. A match ended in a disqualification. Davey Richards won the match via disqualification in the third round after his former partner, Eddie Edwards, arrived and interfered. Solid 3 stars. Good match. They worked really well together and made me want to see a rematch. I'd love a straight-up TV match, 10 minutes or so without the rounds, just to let them go balls to the wall. And I think that would be great fun, as both thrive in the shorter sprint format. So, very good stuff. Second best fight of the night overall for me. And then we had the in-ring debut of Congo Kong. He went up against Matt Sigmund in 2 minutes. Got a slight correction here. This was the worst fight of the night. This was an absolute dud. Squash. Move on. Veterans of War. Mayweather and Wilcox, or Crimson and Jack Stain, against Mario Bocara and Falaba. Veterans of War win the match in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 1 star. Lackluster debut for the Veterans of War. The match was laid out poorly. They should have dominated and not given their opponents so much. And these two have potential as a powerhouse tag team. And then the main event. World Tag Team Championships on the line. Champions, LAX, Santana, and Ortiz. Of course, with they had Conan, Homicide, and the beautiful Diamante in their corner, going up against challengers and former champions, The Decay, Crazy Steve, and Abyss, with the equally beautiful Knockouts champion, Rosemary, in their corner. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 50 seconds, and still the TNA World Tag Team Champions, LAX. Fight of the night. Some are calling it 3 stars, but I'm tweaking the rating on this. 3.5 to 4 stars. Very good plunder brawl, serving as Crazy Steve's exit and further elevating the new LAX. I hate to see Decay go because they turned into a great act. And I hope we get to see Diamante and Rosemary, since they both need something to do and will work well coming out of this. So one of the craziest hardcore brawls I've seen in a long time. So 3.5 to 4. That's my rating for it. Fight of the night. Overall thoughts, 6 out of 10. Solid show this week with Matt Sydal coming in, fully heel EC3, and 2 very good championship matches with the Grand Championship and the Tag Team Street Fight. I still think Josh Matthews hurts more than helps the program. I mean, he's even worse than Michael Cole ever was as a heel commentator. And the feud with Borash simply does nothing for me. The Swoggle and Spud stuff was really stupid. Nobody wants to see that. And poor Spud appears screwed for the time being with Aaron Rex gone. And there's still a ton of moving parts going on as Impact tries to lock in a new identity. It's a solid show right now, but it needs to become more so that they can start building their new version of the company. Solid is fine, but does not cut it in 2017 when there is so much product out there. 6 out of 10, average show for me. So what can we expect on the next edition of Impact Wrestling, which will air this Thursday night on Pop Television at 8 Eastern? Well, I'm going to let you fine folks know right about now. What can we expect for this next show? Let's see. Okay. Here we go. We're going to have another Global Force Women's Championship match. Christina Von Eerie is going to defend against a much more suitable challenger in Sienna. Ethan Carter III is going to be going up against some guy named John Bolin. Congo Kong with a squash match. Magnus one-on-one with Matt Morgan. And Alberto El Patron against Eli Drake. So that's what I have on my list here. So that all goes down Thursday at 8 on Impact Wrestling on Pop Television. And that will put the bow on this special edition of Ridiculously Raw, which also features the Ranger Roundup. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to do our shout-outs now. So MF or Bullock, whoever wants it first, it's yours, and I'll set up the rest of it.
All right, first off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there that makes our show as amazing as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. I want to say a very special thank you to all you guys out there, to my super friends, to the friends from the junior high school days, 2184 crew, family, my brothers in arms, Anthony, Bullock, Derek, Dee Dee, the whole Woodson family, for all the birthday wishes. That was absolutely unbelievable. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciate it. Love each and every one of you guys, as always. Tomorrow night, or later this evening, like Anthony said, is another edition of the Ranger Roundup. Plus, we're also going to include the WWE SmackDown Live recap as well. There's really nothing else. There's no Mikey's Mindset. So come here bright at 10:30 Eastern. So please note the time. It's 10:30, not 10. 10:30. Braves Fan 95. We're going to do the Ranger Roundup first. Then we will do the recap of SmackDown Live. So with that said, until then, it's Mike Fletcher. You know the routine. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. Bullock, it's yours.
I think we probably lost Bullock here. No worries. I'll just wrap it up here. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. I want to send a very special shout out to our other panelists, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, as her and the Woodson family are going through a family emergency right now. We want to wish them the very best, and I told Dee Dee Woodson, take as much time as you need before you come back. Family first. That's the whole thing. And she said she's out of all our shows this week, and she's on track to be back next week, but I don't know about that. We'll see. So we hope she'll be back next week, but we'll see about it. So Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family, our thoughts and prayers are with you as you continue to go through your family emergency, and we wish you all the best, and we hope nothing but positive thoughts from that. So praying for you. Our other shout outs, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Our crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, and Rob Parsons, and of course the man himself, Derek Ferreira, who puts it all together. And last but not least, very special happy birthday shout out indeed to good old MF Michael Fletcher. I know he had a big night last night over at the Dublin Rose in Seekonk with his 2184 crew and some other folks. And I know he had a blessed night. I'm sure he had the most blessed of birthdays. And, known this guy 23 years. And, we've been riding high ever since, from our school days and doing this now with the Ridiculously Raw, Cerebral Smack Talk, Strictly Sports, the whole 9 yards. And mean, MF has always been the Gorilla Monsoon to my Jesse Ventura or Bobby Heenan, and the JR to my Jerry the King Lawler. And, there are so many other great duos out there that we compare ourselves to, but, those are the ones that stood out for us in the world of broadcasting. I mean, Gary Thorne and Bill Clement in the NHL, and, just to name another one, and Doc and Enzo from the NHL and NBC. So that's it. So I know you had a blessed day yesterday, MF, and that's all I can say on that. So more power to you, man. So of course, you heard MF tomorrow night at 10:30, Ranger Roundup, where we recap Game 3 of the Senator Rangers series, and then we'll also have the Cerebral Smack Talk as we review SmackDown Live. A United States Championship rematch, MF. Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, one more time for the United States Heavyweight Championship. That's going down tomorrow night on SmackDown Live. Can't wait to get into that. And then Thursday night, we'll be back with another Ranger Roundup. That's Game 4. And then Friday night, Strictly Sports. One of our big shows of the year. Our team-by-team and grade-by-grade recap of the 2017 NFL Draft. One of our biggest shows of the year. Looking forward to breaking all that down. So, and that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk and Ranger Roundup over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. It's ridiculously over, gentlemen. Anthony Floyer here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and the Hardcore Pipe Bomb Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, along with the Ranger Roundup. You've been watching Ridiculously Raw and the Ranger Roundup right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.